Hello, everyone. It's Saturday, and welcome to the next episode of Talkin Trains. Today's episode, I kind of alluded to in last week's episode, where I was talking about, or going to talk about at least, another restoration project that's happening in the eastern part of the country. And that restoration project, as you can tell from below, is another steam locomotive restoration project that's happening down in Cumberland, Maryland. And that is the restoration of Chesapeake and Ohio locomotive number 1309. It is a 2662 steam locomotive. It's a Malay type locomotive, which means that it's articulated, it bends in the middle. And for many years, it was housed at the C&O Railroad Museum, I believe, in Baltimore. And in 2014, it was shipped to the Western Maryland Scenic in Cumberland, Maryland, just on the other side of the state, to be restored to active service. CSX transported it there on heavy-duty flat cars. It arrived in the summer of 2014, and subsequently the restoration began, I believe, in August of that year. And it was on track for quite a while until there was some issues that came up with it. Two major issues. The first one being the project ran out of funding sometime, I believe, in 2017 or 2016, I think. On top of that, it was found out that one of the employees working on the project stole some critical components needed for the restoration, and I don't recall, but I think sold them off. And since then, this project has been in a continuous state of starting and stopping, and it seems like this thing is never going to be fully restored. There have been so many announcements over the last 3 or so years. There was one where it was supposed to be done by the 4th of July weekend a couple years ago, and then that fell through because they couldn't come up with funding. And there's just been so much start and stop with this that many people are uncertain if this project is ever going to get finished. I mean, even when I was researching articles for this to look up information on it, there's so many articles about this that talk about the starting and the stopping, and then, oh, now we have funding, now we don't. I think the state of Maryland even gave them a $400,000 grant at one point that has already been, I believe, has been used. I don't remember what the article said, but I'm pretty sure that there was a grant given to them. All right, I gotta pause 1 second. I have to run an errand, and I actually just arrived, so give me about a few moments. Well, I mean, for you, it'll be instantaneous. I mean, I'm parking the car now, and boom, hey, look, I'm back, and I'm already moving. All right, so anyway, as I was saying, C&O 1309 restoration project down in Cumberland, Maryland. Huge amounts of delays, like so many delays. It's like unheard of the amount of delays for a project, at least for me. I have never seen a project that's been delayed so much after so many dates have been announced when, oh, it's going to be done, and they actually, the event I mentioned, the one that was going to happen over the 4th of July a couple years ago, they actually sold tickets for it, and people had to be refunded because the project wasn't done and the engine wasn't ready. I didn't give you any backstory on this engine. So as I said, it was built for the Chesapeake and Ohio. It was the last locomotive built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works. I believe it came out, or it was released in 1949. I think I'll have to check that date, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And when it is completed, when the restoration project is, quote, completed, it will be the largest articulated Malay-type locomotive on the eastern part, or in the eastern part of the country. Again, I said it's a 2662 type. It's a 2662 locomotive, which means that it has 2 pilot wheels and then a set of two sets, I should say, of 6 drive wheels, and then another 2 trailing wheels, or a trailing truck, I believe is what it would be called. So that's a little bit about the history of the engine. Believe it or not, and I actually just remembered this now, when this engine was being transported to Cumberland, and maybe this is kind of why this project is experiencing so many delays. When this engine was on its way to Cumberland back in 2014, the train transporting it was involved in a very minor crossing accident. And it's not like the crossing accident that you think of. What had happened was the train was coming up to this town of Brunswick, Maryland, which is not too far from Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. And a tractor trailer, I think, or some sort of large vehicle had knocked over a crossing signal, and it had landed on the tracks. It was fouling the tracks. And the train actually ended up striking the crossing signal that was lying across the tracks because it was unable to stop in time. It was obviously going restricted speed already because of the the steam locomotive that it was transporting. So I was kind of thinking, I wonder if that is maybe part of the reason why, I don't want to get into like, superstition and all that, but, sometimes they say when something happens to a particular thing, it could cause something to happen to it in the future. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that just came to my mind. I thought I'd bring that up. So yeah, I mean, and that's kind of why I was talking about, the whole thing with Tennessee Pass last week, and then 2 weeks ago, the whole thing with, East Broad Top. What you have to understand about talk in the railroad is that there's a lot of talk, and until something actually happens, you're never really sure if it's actually going to happen. The whole thing with the East Broad Top, that looks like it is going to happen. I'm almost certain that is something that's going to happen. The whole thing with Tennessee Pass, I'm not sure about. And then you get onto this thing about the 1309, if this thing is going to be restored. It's about 85% complete. That's the good thing. The whole engine is about 85% finished. They just have the other 15%, which I think requires, I read the number earlier, I think it's like another $375,000 that's needed to complete the project. Trains Magazine, which is where I get a lot of my information from, is actually holding a fundraiser kind of thing for this engine. And I think their goal for that is about $100,000. I think they've received about 80,000 the last I checked. So that's a little bit about the 1309 and what the deal with them is. I really would like to see this engine run. It looks like a pretty neat engine. I've already seen and ridden behind Malay type locomotives. They're pretty neat. There's not many of them to my recollection right now off the top of my head. I can't really think of any more than, I know there's a 2662T locomotive that operates on the Black Hill Central that I rode behind in 2007. That's the only one that I really can think of. I think there's more. I'm not aware if there are more of that variety, the 2662 variety. I'm not aware of any more of that variety. So yeah, if you want to get more information about the 1309's restoration, if I remember, I'll put a link in the description for you to check out. And I guess that's about all for this episode of Talkin Trains. I don't know what I'm going to talk about next week, so you'll be in for a surprise, just like I probably will be. So, until then, take care, God bless, and maybe see you trackside.